Adulya, can you switch on your audio? Not audible. Adulya? Sherin?
Sir? Sir, Adulya left, sir.
Yeah, you please proceed, ma. Proceed to the
You
next.
start, ma. No problem. I continue, ma. Network
Sir,
issue,
I'll
ma.
begin with the prayer
You
of...
continue, ma. No problem. Continue, ma. Continue, ma.
Okay, sir. Today's workshop is about ETL processing. Now I call upon Dr. Shivalingam H, Head of Data Science Department, to give a short introduction about today's resource person.
Yeah, thank you, Sherin, for the great opportunity. And I'm very happy to meet all of you on this 4 days workshop on data management and the data mastering. And now we are in the second day of this workshop. And I take this opportunity to welcome each and everyone for this 4 days workshop, which is organized by Department of Computer Science and Application, along with Pencil Bits. And yeah, without delay, I'm very happy to introduce our today's resource person, Mr. Rajesh Khanna. He is presently working as associate at Cognizant Technology. He has more experience, more than 6 years of experience as a full stack ETL developer. He also has a very strong interest in Informatica, IACS, and also Pentahood tools. Uh, so with this, once again, I welcome each and every one of you for this second day of the workshop, which is ETL, connected to ETL processing. And I hope everyone will gain good knowledge from Rajesh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I hand over the session to Mr. Rajesh Khanna R to start the second day of our workshop. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon and Shivalinga, for the warm welcome. And sorry, Shivalinga, I'm having only 3.7 years of experience, and I'm having, as everything is true.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. It's about given anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Then, welcome all for the session, ETL processing. I'll just start today's session by sharing my screen. Yeah. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yes, Rajesh.
So, before starting, I want to give some small introduction about that ETL process. That ETL process is nothing but we have to transform our source data, like kind of things. I hope you might know about that analytic process, like OLTP and OLAP, that process for data side. So, after that analytical processing, we have to show that data into a visualization part in kind of dashboards or some kind of visualization. For that, we have to cleaning that data or transforming that data based on our requirement. Those process called ETL process. For that, ETL is nothing but the extract from source and transform to our basic requirement, I mean business requirement, and then load it to our table, whichever database mart. This is the short introduction of what that ETL and ETL process. Let deep into that. So coming to that today's session, this is the agenda for that. Like just we are going to about looking about that ETL, how it is, and then architecture, and then brief process of those ETLs. And it might be technique of extract and transform, how we can transform that, and loading types into that data mart. Those kind of things we'll see in this today's session. And after that, there is some tools. I don't have that tools handy. I mean, I don't in my system. I just have one sample instance with me. I mean, images. With that, I try to show how it load into our data mart. Hope this till now you have any queries, you can stop me at any time and you can raise your questions. Hope you guys understand, right? Yeah.
Yes, Rajesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
Coming to that architecture, I mean, that ETL architecture, as I told earlier, this is the architecture. Like we have a data source that might be RDBMS, like relation database, or some kind of true source, anything, flat files, or any kind of source system. You can have the data source, and we have to load it in our staging area. And that might be loaded into our data warehouse. That staging area might have transformation like based on our output requirement. Say for an example, like if we have a analytical data which has some customers, which has some profit on that particular product, we have to show that for that customer alone or else a product alone. That kind of transformation we can do it in our staging area with that ETL tool, and we can show that as a particular cleaning data in that metadata or whatever raw data in our data mart. And after do that loading to our data, then we can show it in a visualization part. Like we have some visualization tool as well, no, like Power BI, ClickView, ClickSense, those kind of uh, tools can be used for showing that dashboard or visualization process, reporting process, like that. And this is a like major architecture. You can just consider that from source to we loaded in a staging area, and staging area to our target table or any data mart table, whichever a final table, final load table. Yeah. And coming to that detailed explanation, as I told earlier, that extract from the source and transform to our data into our data warehouse. And we know that that ETL means extraction, transform, and load. And we can, this is whichever I sent previously, I mean, whichever I told earlier, right? That one only, like we can transform our basic need. And if that, in the transformation, in our source, that might be unstructured data, we have to show it as a structured one. We can see it in coming up slides or coming up session. And that moves into our data warehouse based on a repository. Like repository is nothing but our different kind of environment. In terms of IT organization or any kind of organization, you may know about in development and or in the terms of testing, and finally it gone to production. So based on development, it will move to particular repository. If that load might be successful or not, based on that it will move that. So coming to the steps, it will goes like this, like from bottom to top. Here you have to determine the target data, whether you have to identify how the target will be like in before starting to the mapping or doing some work on it, you have to identify how my data mart table will be. That you have to identify it and you have to structure it. Based on that, you have to identify the source. What is the source for it? Particular target table, there is a source for it, and what are the combined source for it for the particular target table. You have to define those, and then you have to get that mapping elements. I mean, there is some transformation elements over there. You have to identify that, and you have to use a precise one, because we have to consider all the tuning elements, like say for example storage, timing, performance, and fatal error. Those kind of things we have to keep in mind, and we have to choose that particular elements. And after that, there is a cleansing process, and those and will be there. Like there is some standard for that particular organization. Based on that, we have to keep it. Whether we have in the Informatica, say for example, in the Informatica, we have something called parameterizing. Parameterizing nothing but there is a big query for it, extraction from the source. You have to parameterize. If you do that, you can keep it in something as I mean in one folder. Then that storage and then performance will be increased. So those kind of things happen, and then we have to go ahead with aggregation. Aggregation and some converting of data types. Those aggregation data types, say for example, in source system, that might be one field called customer ID. In that source system, that has a data type called varchar. But in our target table, it should be a numerical one or integer one. Those kind of things you have to consider by which component or which transformation we have to go choose, and based on that how it will be. That kind of process and all you have to plan accordingly. And then we have to load from source to staging area. Staging area nothing but our intermediate table, like that we can say. From source to it might be a one-on-one table or direct code, it kind of things. A simple kind of transformation would be there. Say for example, like converting a data types, or converting that concatenate or some kind of simple transformation over there. That might be happen in a staging area, and after do that, it will move to our target table. Then we can decide as well as whether it might be based on our requirement. It will load for dimension table and fact table. In this steps, any queries, guys? Okay. So coming to that, very first process, extraction. Data extraction is nothing but I told that we need to extract from our source from the different when you going to use the tool, it not might be a single source. It can be a multiple source, whether it might be a flat file or some DB or some any kind of environment. You can fetch that to load. And coming to that, after that, we can decide whether it is a tool staging table, whether it might be a full load or increment load, that kind of things you can see. Coming to that extraction issue, I just list down that what are the maybe facing issue or some identification issue what during that extraction. I just list down that source identification and method of identification and extraction frequency and time window, job sequence, and exception handling. If the source identification, for the say for example, if we have a target table called target customer, we have to identify how many sources for it and what are all the particular field that is related with. Just for an example, in a target table, if you have a customer ID and customer name, but in a source table, you may have a 20 plus source tables, and each and every source table not that much related. Only two fields are there. Only customer name, in one table customer name will be there, in another table customer last name will be there, in another table customer ID will be there. Some kind of discrepancy will be there, and you have to accumulate and you have to identify how we are going and how we are going to extract, and these kind of things we need to identify before starting that extraction process, like method of extraction also, how that whichever I told earlier. And extraction frequency, that might be based on your true source. Say for example, in the true source, that data might be changed weekly once or daily. Based on their input, you have to identify how that stage table will be. I mean, in the intermediate table will be that extraction frequency. You have to identify those time and also came accordingly. And job sequency. That job sequency is nothing but there is a process called the customer ID to target table customer, and then it not might be a single job. In that same job, that might be another target table also. After to that target customer, I need to load a target table called subsidiary. So that target table will be sequence and all you have to determine, and how it will be those sequence and all you have to determine. Yeah, which I told earlier is some kind of pictorial view. Here you may see in target table product data, customer and delivery channel data, and deposition time data, those order metrics. And here we have a source, processing customer product, delivery contract, and shipment tracking. These are the fields, and we have to convert based on that target one. Hope this one you may got some idea about that extraction, right? Like what is that all about? If you have any doubts, you can ask me, guys. No worries.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So can you give another example of the ETL, sir? What previous slide?
This one or this one?
This one, sir.
This one. So this is steps. So for full process of ETL steps. Another example I can say a sales. Okay, we have to load a target table called sales. Okay, and we have some source table of 4 to 5 tables. In the target table, we have to identify how the target table will be. It might be some 10 to 15 fields, like the product key, and how it was, how many items it got purchased, and what is the price for it, and when it is purchased date, and that kind of things. It should be in target table. That and all you have to determine first itself based on your requirement. And coming to that second step, I mean, data source identification. Both the internal and external means nothing but for that sales in a shop, that might be an internal purchasing, as well as that shop might get purchased from other outside as well, no? Like wholesale stock, those kind of things. That might be identify the source itself. And after do that, you have to identify the mapping elements for that particular sales ID or product ID. How many source table got related, and what are the fields for it? And you have to identify those elements to are related with our target. Ultimately, you have to fix your target table first, and then extraction rules. How would, like before I showed, no, how would gonna be, and how frequency, the days, and those and all you have to consider. And transformation. Say for an example, here we have something called date field. In the date field, in your source system, it might be like YYMMYY. I mean DD. But in your target, it should be YYY, 4Y, and double M with the hyphen, and DD with the timestamp. I mean, their seconds. So, but in your target table, source table, you have only double Y and double M and double D. Based on that, you have to transform. I mean, you have to identify based on your target and based on your target field, how it will be. Based on your requirements, you have to identify the transforming elements and how the data will be. Say, might be in the cleansing rules is nothing but that might be a duplicate elements. For that particular product, that might be purchased on double times. You have to identify how you can eliminate. I can show when I hope it might be there, and I can show that also how we can eliminate those duplicates. And coming to that aggregate tables, nothing but that might be a price item in your target table, but in your source table there is a two entry for that the same price, but the same product ID with a different price with a different time activity. You can aggregate those things based on your requirement. So these are all identification, and after that identification, you can go ahead with the loading to stage, and after that you can load to dimension table and fact table. Dimension table, as you know, whichever it's a constant. Say for example, in a shop, that might be only a 10 to 50 number of elements only. You can keep it as a dimension. But in a fact table, that might be a changing one. For that product, that might be another customer will buy, and a same product, another customer will buy. Those kind of things, those changing and all happen in fact table. You can uh, have like that. Hope I'm clear now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So coming to that extraction technique here, we can say like two major one, as it is, and data extraction based on the revision. As it is nothing but whatever is there at the very first one, we can show it in a stage in a art stage table. There is a one we can capture the data. If you want to capture a data on today, that might be should be there in our stage table. This is a as it is like it is not any kind of incremental or any kind of updation will happen over here. You just copy the data and load it into our stage table. We can say that's initial load. That's it. And coming to that extraction of data revision, that might be play a crucial role over here. Like, why in the sense that here it might be get a periodic updation in a source table. You have a two source table. You have two different stage table over there. Each and for each table, one source table might be updated based daily, and one source might be updated weekly once. So you have to update based on your source, and then you have to add that new entry as well. If that is the extraction of those, like whether it might you suddenly some you have to add the flat files as well to our stage table. Those kind of things. Coming to this flow, you may identify. So that here. So here transaction and extraction of those one, and here you may get that data staging area based on your DBS source. This was a source DBMS, I mean source database, and based on your real time, I mean based on your requirement, you can load into a staging area. And there is another technique called capture to transaction log and database triggers and source. There is some more else I'll show you. So whichever show is a static data, which is the initial load and transaction lag and the database triggers and source application based on date and timestamp and comparing files. Like these two, like when we come to that date and timestamp, which I told earlier, like if you there is updation for a particular sales ID, I mean product ID, you have to update that in your stage table. You can do it based on your timestamp, date and timestamp, and based on a comparing files with that, say the count of those files and some of those product price, those kind of things also happen here. So this is what the major one for extraction, and this is nothing simple. We can say extraction is nothing but from the source we have to load into our stage table. It might be incremental load, or based on your data or source, it might be a truncate or full load, initial load. Got it, no? Can I continue? Any questions, friends?
No, sir.
Okay. So after do the transformation, the here this will play a vital role in your ETL process. Why? Because you can play with this like in your tool. We can do anything based on our requirement. In a source that might be an initial one, but in coming to the transformation, you can change your data based on your requirement. Like just for an example, that might be a named column in our source. You just load it into our stage table. But in your fact table or dimension table, you should show that as a first name and middle name and last name. That transformation happened here only. But in kind of extraction, in a stage table, we can't go. Might be based on record, but in dimension, we that is a good practice. What I'm saying, that transformation and all happened here only. So here, so basic task for the data transformation here, a selection and splitting and joining, which is nothing but our joining pods. I mean, you have to main, say for an example, that is which I told earlier, right? We have some 2 to 3 sources that the joining, those joining will not happen here only. And conversion is nothing but our in data types, those kind of data types, and based on your field, you have to convert that and standardize over there. Like we have some data types, no, varchar, those things, and in Informatica or in your retail tool, that might not be same. When you compare with the SQL or anything which is not be there, you have to convert that, and you have to go at your uh, stage table or load table. And granularity, that summarization is nothing but a granular level. Uh, Granular level is nothing but if you have a data, say for an example, there is a data called project, which has a detailed explanation of metadata. That granular level will be till a project manager, just for an instance. It will like a hierarchy for that particular project. Who is that member? I mean, what is the project name and when it got started, and who is the PM name? That is a granular level. Till the lowest level, we can say the granular level means least level of identification. We can say for that particular data, we can identify what is the granular level least to lowest one. We have to identify, and then we can transform there itself. I mean, in stage table, you have to show that first project ID and project name and start date, end date, those kind of things, and what is the uh, region for it. Till that granular level, we can show that. And enrichments, a rearrangement, those simplification of those. Say for example, there is the one complex field over there. You have to simplify it based on your performance tuning. Those kind of things happening. Still okay, right?
Sir,
Yeah.
Sir, explain me conversion first point.
Conversion. Yeah. So
Yeah, first point. Yes.
okay. Just for I just go with the example. Yes, like there is a source table, right? On source table we have, and then in that source table we have a sales, a, a product. Okay, that product name. But in your a target table, that might be varchar in your tool, target table tool. But when you check into the source, that was a string. With that, you have to convert that based on your requirements and standardize. These are the standardized one, like uh, how I can say. In the ETL perspective, you have to follow a standardized one, which is there in ETL2. You can't go with whatever there is. For a flat file, if you fetch it from a flat file, that might be not a standardized one. It is automatically there. Based on your target table requirement, you have to change that. That's it. Hope I'm answering your question.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Coming to that major transformation and transformation function, format revision, and then decoding fields. These whether that whichever showed that conversion one, and decoding fields. It's kind of like, say for an example, based on your, if there is a fact table which is there, like key column for a surrogate key. In that fact table, you have any key column. We can't show a direct dimension over there. What we can say, like, there is a product called the sari. We can't show that in the fact table. Those kind of decoding, but we have to go ahead with that transformation one, keeping that key encryption, those kind of in the fact table we have only a key, right? So based on the key we can identify in that in our dimension table. And coming to that calculator and derivative values, those kind of aggregation one, and splitting of single field, which I told earlier, like concatenation, or that the full name to I mean the standard name to full name and last name. Those kind of things happened here. Like that calculation derivation is nothing but your sales. Just consider in your stage table you have a sales, and for a in your target table you have to show based on your product, not based on your customer. So you have to do aggregation based on it. Those kind of things you can just a simple instance for it. And the splitting of keys, like which I told earlier, like you can split or concatenate with the transformation. And these are all the same one, like merging of informations and character conversion of unit measurements. This conversion of unit is, we can say, apart from that currency, we can say that weights, like kg to pounds, or some currency comma over there, instead of going with the placement of decimals. Those kind of things happened here. And other than that, coming to that duplication, this is the main thing you have when you coming to the data transformation. You have to, the data should not be there, any data should not be there. For that, you can accumulate over there. For, say for an example, that in your source table that might be distinct, but coming to that, you may not show every column over there. That might be a customer name and customer ID. And for that, in your source table, there is a customer name and customer ID, and another field called the date. But in your stage table, you want to show only customer ID and customer name. you can't show that one as it is there. If there is any duplicate, you have to show as a single record. That kind of standard we should follow over there. And coming, which I told earlier, right, that key, we have to give some encryption key. We can say not an encryption key, it's this unique key for it. There is a product, one product name and product ID called product ID 1 and product name called Sari, and we have to create one unique key for that particular combination. That one product surrogate key called 1 point or 100 kind of things we can use. When it was gone to place, when we perform that fact table, we can use that 100 itself. Not you can't go ahead with this two fields over there. You can't show, you can't go ahead with these two fields. Instead of that, you can go with the single field called the key. That kind of transformation also you can use. And this is simple, just a flow of transformation. Like as I told earlier, like you can use the data transformation function and the cleansing process, and that can consolidate and integrate data that's transformation now, and determine the dimension. Based on that, you can go ahead with the loading time. Still that any clarification, guys? Any?
No, Rajesh, I think you continue, please.
Yeah, no. And coming to that usage of this transformation tool, as we know, it might be that data related one. There is a unstructured data in your source, and we can show it in a structured data. Those kind of things happen here, and efficiency and accuracy of those might be, we can see. We have to show a sum of total. We can show that in the source itself, but while transforming those, we are able to identify by based on each and every attributes kind of things. That kind of efficiency and accuracy will be there, and data parameterizing nothing but you have to define some variable or parameter name over there. Say for an example, there is a some query you just in your transformation, you just give some if else condition over there. For that, you don't want to place that much big query over there. Instead of that, you just parameterize that, and you can give some variable. It will increase your efficiency of your transformation tool. That kind of things happen here. Yeah. And coming to that, this still there, I'm completing a transformation. I'm going to a data load, a final part of our ETL. Any doubt, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
Sir, can I get a quick summary of transformation, please?
sure. So you understand about that extraction, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So here we have to load it to our target table. With that, a stage table. Okay, just consider from that intermediate table, you have to load it to our target table. In that intermediate table, you have something called some field called price. And in your stage table, there is a two attributes related to that price. One is product and another one is customer. But in your target table, you have only two fields called a price and customer, and another target called product and sales. You have to transform that based, I mean, just for an aggregate over there, like based on your customer aggregation, how many sales will be happen? Based on a product aggregation, how many sales will be happen? Like those kind of transformation, and in that transformation, you can go ahead with the conversion of particular price, and the conversion of converting those particular product name or customer name, and you can keep instead of that key over there. Those kind of transformation happen there. Simple kind of thing. This was simple understanding for you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. And coming to the data load, this is the final part. Here, after to that, transformation, you just load into our data. That might be a interesting one, like based on your requirement, or based on your business requirement, or based on your source loading frequency. You can decide your target file. Uh, that might be I just split into three, like initial load, incremental load, and full refresh. Initial load is nothing but when you start a new mapping, and at the time the target table will be empty. So when you at the very first time you just load the table, you just load the data, right? That is called an initial load. After to that initial load, we have to decide, it might be a update or insert, those kind of things, or it might be a full refresh, whether we are going to truncate the data or delete the data entirely, and we have to load as it is based on our transformation. We have to load down. We have to decide. Just for a detailed explanation here, like techniques and process for applying data. As I told earlier, this was a simple, detailed explanation there. Whichever this is, when I compare coming to this, it might give you a simple idea about it. Like here, coming to that load, here we have a data staging. It is not a source, it is an intermediate table, and we have to load it to our data warehouse. This is our target table. Before starting my loading process, the data will be like this. When the load will be completed, the data might be look like this. Say why? Because I just deleting all this existing data and load it again, whichever they're in a stage table, which is newly entered or updated over there. This is a simple load. We can say a truncate load kind of thing. And coming to that append, you may see that before to after, you may see that triple R will be there, and newly there in stage table, it's just appended. Those kind of things called insert one. It is not get updated. It's just insert whatever there in your stage table, and you also keep that target table data as well. And coming to the destructive merging, here in this stage table, for that 1 2 3 key have data called AAA, and coming to that existing data, the existing barrows, we can see something called the 5R for the same key. Here you may see, after completing that load, you may see that 1 2 3 has whichever there in stage table, which is newly updated over there in stage table, that might be got updated as a 4A, and that 2 3 4 and 3 4 5 key got also entered. This is nothing but your update and insert statement, slowly changing one, you can say. I hope that also you might be aware that slowly changing dimension one, SCD1 and SCD2, which is vitally performed for dimension load. You can have that history record whichever there here, append, and you can keep only update and newly inserted one. That is SCD1 and SCD2, whichever used in our tool, ETL tool over there. That's it. Sorry. The last one, the constructive management. See here, I told earlier, here we may give a history record over here. Previously, for that 1, 2, 3, it get updated, but coming to this, we have that history record as well as a newly record with this kind of star. In this image, we just keep like a star, but coming to the data perspective, we have something called a flag element, like a flag field. In your dimension table, there is a field called flag, whether it is active or inactive. For in this case, there is a 1, 2, 3, and for that 4A is the active one. But in that particular field, we can show as a active, and this 5R become as a inactive. Inactive one. So those kind of variation we can show there. Like we can keep history record as well as your new record. This might be used for tracking or data, how it got changed from particular attributes to this one. Those kind of tracking purpose, this might be used. So yeah, as we know, it's a simple flow, like whichever I told earlier, like type 1 and type 2. See here, if the surrogate key, which is nothing but your unique key. Based on that, it is there or not, you can overwrite or create a new value, or keeping that old value and insert that new value. Those kind of things it's happened in your data load. I think this was the major one. Like coming to that data load part, it might be simple. Those kind of things you can explore while you perform. Any questions, guys, for the data load?
Sir,
Yeah.
Sir, what is a type of these types tree?
Type 3.
Yes,
So
type 1 to type 3.
yeah, see here, overwrite a new value, which is nothing but your truncation load, like whichever shown, right? Just a simple load. For that key, it will delete that entire table and then load that whichever there in station. Coming to that second type, it will update those records. For that, if there is any updation for that the particular record, it will update it. And coming to that type 3, it will keep that existing record, which is for the same key, and that will mark as a inactive, and whichever there for a new key, new element for that same key, which is keep as a active one. Those kind of uh, just overview of this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So up to this, that DD process, I hope I covered that. And coming to the tool, this is the major and widely used in all organization, mostly used tools like Informatica Power Center, and ISA is nothing but the Informatica Cloud, which is a cloud version of this Power Center IPC, and Oracle Data Integrator, and Pentago, and Microsoft Azure. So I didn't show that Informatica tool with you now. Like I don't have that. In my system I don't have it, which is I'm using with my office laptop, so I don't have that. And if you able to see this, I mean, I suggest to go with this Oracle integrated, which is widely performed nowadays. And Pentago is that also good, but comparatively, you just go with steady with this Informatica Power Center and Oracle Data Integrated. I have this just a sample mapping. Uh, I don't have slides, but I can explain you how that Informatica Power Center. So in that Informatica Power Center, we have four different components like designer, I mean repository, designer, workflow manager, and monitor. These are the four components. But when you coming to that IACS, I mean cloud for a cloud of Informatica, that all components you can see it in a single window. You can open it in your Google itself. I mean uh, Windows uh, engine itself. But for this, you have to install that tool in your machine. That is a slightly difference. And coming to that, uh, this mapping document, which I told earlier, we have a four components, right? The one is repository, designer, workflow manager, monitor. In repository, we have entire accumulated details of mapping, workflow, and monitoring of any session we have created for in within the Informatica, and who it is created. Those kind of detailed uh, uh, data, or we can say detailed folder or detailed mapping data will be there in our repository. Coming to the designer, you can create your mapping. Like mapping is nothing but you can create your transformation. This is nothing but your mapping, which is done in a designer window. Here you may see that source. That is a two source, which is there. After to that is your one of the transformation source qualifier. This source qualifier is used to, which I told earlier, you can convert that to our requirement based on your target size, field of size. Based on that, you can go ahead with the uh, source qualifier. This source might be getting from a SQL query or any database or from your flat files. You can import that and then you can use it as a source. And this is after to that source qualifier, it is nothing but your sorting. You just sort the data based on your particular field. If you click, I mean, in that, I don't, sorry, seriously, I don't have that Informatica in my window. If you have that, there is one option called based on your one field and how it be sorted. That kind of things you can do. And after do that sorting, you have something called joiner. How you have to join these two based on which element, right? Either it might be a foot outer join or left outer join. Those kind of things you can perform. That might be a user friendly. Like if you click on that, that might be an option called joiner option, and that might be option called what is the field for that a master table and what is the field you have to join with. That and all you can decide over here. And this is the expression. Expression is nothing but expression transformation is nothing but you can play with whatever you want, like whichever the conversion of date types, conversion of units, that the concatenation, if else, if you want to pick some if else condition, and if you want to define that SCD type, say for an example, there is a dimension mapping which has a SCD type 1, you have to define based on which key I need to identify whether it get updated or not. Based on that, you can define here itself. You can declare the flag. You can play around with this. And this is one of the major major transformation used in Informatica. And coming to that filter condition, whether you can use it here itself or else you have that transformation itself here. And router. router is nothing but that grouping of all those. We have grouping and splitting based on that, whether it get inserted or updated or deleted. That and all it get splitted into here and here, and that is another expression. And this is update strategy, that transformation called update strategy, which is, I told earlier, no, there is a flag called inactive and active flag. One field should be there in target table, whether in loading to a dimension table. If it is a SCD, to have a history data, we should maintain our what is that? Flag field over there. With this update and update strategy, we can mention whether it is a active or inserted one or updated one. This kind of activities happened here. And after completing your mapping, you have to create a session for it. Each mapping should have a separate session. You can't give a two mapping in a one session. Each mapping should have a one session, and multiple session may performed in a single workflow based on your sequence. Say for an example, after do your stage workflow, you have to load your target target session. You have stage sales, and then you have a target stage, and in your workflow manager you can sequence your mappings, sessions, and you can design your time as well. You can automate your workflow based on your frequency of time. Those and all can be performed, and then parameterizing of those SQL query. And if you want to fetch some file from a local or some from other server, those kind of parameterizing or those kind of things, if you want to a command, you want to use some command, those and all happened in workflow manager. And after to that, you have something called monitor, which is nothing but to monitoring those workflow or session. If you want to trigger that session alone, you can view that. If you want to trigger that entire workflow, you can view there. And then if something has happened, something is failed, and you in that monitor, you may see how many rows get inserted to that final table, target table, and why it got. If something has happened due to that, you can error is happening, means you can get that session log or workflow log. You can check why it is happening and what is the issue for it. Those kind of activities happened in monitor. This is the simple or overview of Informatica Power Center. That might be a good one for you. If you want to know more, you can explore more, or you can reach me out anytime. Any questions, guys, in Informatica, you can ask if you have any doubts.
No, sir.
Yeah, I think I completed. That's it. That's it from my side.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Can you just to say something connected to this data set? Because when we talk about this ETL process like that, no, I think we have something called data sets. We wanted to know from where the data sets can be taken for our, work and process, like that. Can you just say something connected?
Actually, in my system, I don't have any as for now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. Sorry for that, and I tried to do it, but I tried to do my best, but I'm not able to do it. If time,
Are some of the source, some of the portals from where we can download and use it for our
yeah,
process?
mm, I can search you and I'll send it to you guys soon. Sure.
And we have anyway. This is not connected to the session exactly, but when we have some of our data science students are there in the session, and maybe they are in the second year, like first and second years. So as connected to you, like if they wanted to continue their profession connected to this data science like that, in what they can concentrate more, in which area, or which tool, something like that. You can just say.
No. Admin data science, tools.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, sir, what is the full form of ETL?
It is the extract transformation.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, no. Yeah, yes.
Sir, can I get one more example for ETL process, overall example?
Overall example, okay. Let me have that. Give me a second. I will just try to get some overall flow for it. New flow.
Sir,
Yeah.
so if any queries I can clarify. If not, we can shall we wind up the class?
For that Lal Prasad, right? I can give you like you can say the transformation apart from the sales and the product amount, we can go ahead with project data details like or student data details. In your site, that might be a source of multiple flatbed. Just consider that as a files over there, and you have to transform based on your target feeds. Like you have to show how was their rank or how was the mark they have scored in each and every subject. Based on your different subject, different source, you can show it there using the transformation of those. This is a simple another example you can say. Uh, that's it. Yeah, that's it from my side, guys. I hope.
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Yeah, tell me the.
So, where all it can be applicable, sir? Like for the large data set or large database, or how, sir? Like some of the applications of ETL, sir.
Applications.
Sir.
You can, it might be used for a data visualization part. Like there is a visualization part called there is a dashboard, say for COVID. Just consider COVID. That might be a data called in a day for a country, how many patients got admitted, how many patients got fatal, how many patients got retrieved. You have to show that is in a visualization manner. Those kind of things happen. Those kind of things we have to do means you have to have a clear data set, clear data for it, right? So those kind of things happen. That is one kind of application for visualization part.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, that's it. Okay, shall we wind up?
Yes, Rajesh. This is Kartika.
Uh,
Hello. You
yeah,
would have got the feedback link through your comment. I request everyone to fill the form. Thank you. Rajesh, if we have no questions, can we wind up the session?
yeah, we can.
Thank you so much. The session was very useful. Thank you. We are actually getting the good feedback through mail. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you all. We'll send the feedback link to your mail also. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.